As you can see, this video is pretty long. There are visuals in this video, but you can always also just listen, kind of like a podcast. There are some parts that are a little bit more personal and some that are more directly related to what actually happened at the dream stage, so I'm leaving timestamps in the description. You can skip to whatever interests you, but I do hope you stick around for the complete story time. Whatever you choose to do, I hope you enjoy. Welcome back, or if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Ale, and I danced with ITZY at this year's KCON LA. Oh my god, that's still so crazy. I did vlog my entire KCON weekend, but girl, vlogs take so long to edit. Like, I still have to finish editing my P1 Harmony in Mexico vlog. That's coming next week, by the way, so subscribe. Although I'll eventually put out my KCON vlog, I did want to just film like a totally separate story time to really get into the details of what it was like to compete for the dream stage and win the dream stage and be on stage with ITZY. And as you might have seen, I was blessed by Yuna. We love Yuna. I'm a Yuna defender. This video is also sponsored by All My Things Cosmetics and Cellect. I got to partner with them at KCON. I visited their booth and they gave me a bunch of goodies. Thank you so much to All My Things and Cellect for sponsoring this video, and let's get right into it. I'm actually starting off with the Cellect Beauty Beam. This is an anti-breakout LED light for the skin. This has a red light for rejuvenating the skin and also a blue light for anti-breakout. If you follow me over on Instagram, you'll know that a few months ago I was going through it with my skin. Really bad cystic acne all over, super inflamed and also really painful. So normally I would do the blue light for anti-breakout, but today my skin's feeling a little dry, so I'm doing the red light rejuvenating. This is good for all skin types, and you just hold the light over a given area for 5 minutes, and you can use this 2 to 3 times a week. Boom, makeup is done. I'll show you guys how I got this look a little bit later in this video. But first I want to talk about how the dream stage works. A few weeks before the convention, KCON posts on their social media channels, Instagram, Twitter. They make the posts announcing the dream stage and they announce which artists are going to participate. So this year, day 1 was IVE, day 2 was ZB1, and day 3 was ITZY. KCON posts the songs that the dream stage will be for, and they also post the timestamps of what the dream stage participants will do. You have to learn those timestamps and film yourself dancing to those parts of the song. Then you upload a video of yourself dancing and post them on social media. You have to link your video to this Google form that they have. From there, KCON reviews the applications and then they send out emails to a select amount of people. Those people are the ones that actually compete at the convention. If you didn't know, I also participated and won the dream stage last year with Kepler. And that was the very first time that KCON had done the dream stage ever. Last year, I'm like pretty sure that everybody who submitted the Google form was then invited to compete at KCON. This year was different. Not everybody who applied online was invited to compete at KCON. So if you get that email from KCON, you get invited to go to the convention and you compete at the convention. There are 2 rounds, preliminary round and final round. For the preliminary round, a group of 8 to 10 people will go on stage and perform the dance once, and on the spot, there will be eliminations. So the judges call out the numbers of the people who made it to the final round. If your number isn't called, then you just walk off stage and you exit the competition. The judges. So last year, the judges were not professional dancers that were affiliated with any of the KCON performing groups, but this year they were. We had professional choreographers and dancers judging us, which made it a lot more scary, but also made it feel like pretty fair and objective. I know the day 1 IVE competition got judged by Taemin's dancers. Day 2 ZB1 was judged by, I think, Rain's choreographer. And day 3 for ITZY, we had 2 choreographers from Everglow. I personally really liked the judges from my day because they were both girls and they both seemed really nice. They were giving people encouraging looks. They actually looked and smiled at you when you would go on stage, whereas I actually watched the ZB1 stage the day before, and Rain's choreographer, he was kind of scary. I was really happy that our judges were girls and that they seemed like a little bit more relaxed. That helped me feel a little bit more relaxed. So that is how the competition works, and let me tell you guys, it almost didn't matter because I almost didn't compete. Actually, going into the dream stage, first of all, I just feel like I have a history with ITZY, especially Wannabe. Girl, Wannabe is one of my all-time favorite dances in K-pop. I really felt comfortable and confident with how I execute Wannabe. So yeah, I went into this competition feeling pretty confident. Like I wasn't really that nervous. But then 3 things happened that really changed how I felt about the competition as a whole and made me almost not compete on day 3. Like I literally almost didn't show up. Number 1, dancers who I know are fully capable of being on that stage not winning on previous days. They are 2 people that I've known for years. They are very experienced and like they've been in the space for years. So on day 1, I learned that a friend of mine who there was no doubt in my mind that they were gonna win that dream stage, they didn't win the dream stage. And I was shocked, like shocked. But I was like, okay, that had to have been like a one-off thing. Then day 2 comes around for the ZB1 stage. There was somebody that I know who actually won the Dream Stage last year, and besides that, you guys, I just know how good of a dancer. I don't know how else to show you guys unless I actually showed you videos of them dancing. I watched live, at least for the ZB1 day, and then the numbers got called and they skipped over their number, and I was like, what? So I think that really freaked me out, because I thought to myself, these are 2 people that not just me, but like anyone who knows them would say, you're absolutely gonna get it. Like, there's no way you're not gonna win. And then they didn't win. To see 2 people that you felt that way about not make it, that really messed with me, because I just thought to myself, what if that's me? Like, I'm so confident, but what if it just doesn't happen for me? Those 2 people who didn't make it, it's not like they're not good dancers. Like, them not winning that competition does not change anything about how I view them as dancers, and I don't think it would change how anyone else views them. The second reason I almost didn't compete was the guide. On their social media platforms, KCON, not only do they post the timestamps of what you're supposed to learn, they actually also posted a guide. It's technically a tutorial. Each group posted their own video. I think Jang Hao and Hanbin from ZB1, they posted their demo clip. I don't know who did it for IVE, but I know that for ITZY, it was Ryujin and Yuna. And here's the thing, those videos, it wasn't just clips of the idols dancing. They had this whole, like, it was like a 2-3 minute video, and it was kind of like skit based at first, so the idols were kind of talking to each other, and then they went into showing the dance. So me personally, I did not look at that until the day before I competed, because I didn't even know that that was the guide. I was like, oh, it's just a promotional post. I had no idea that the idols were showing us the dance in those videos. So I actually talked to my friend who didn't win the IVE Dream Stage, and they were telling me that they thought maybe one of the reasons they didn't win is because it seemed like those who did win really followed the guides to a T. Like, complete accurateness, no individual movements, like they followed it exactly as it was shown online. So I thought to myself, oh, should I do that? Because here's the thing, ITZY's wannabe dance, especially the parts that we were given, there's a lot of variation in the moves. Like, there are some parts where some members are up and some are down. There's like different hand movement. There's space for individuality. That's just a part of the choreo. So I thought to myself, I wonder what the guide looks like. And here's the thing, when I learned wannabe, I learned Yeji's parts because Yeji's center. But the guide was Ryujin and Yuna. And so when I watched the guide, there were certain moves that were completely different from what I had learned and what I had prepared. So that sent me into an absolute spiral. I was like, I'm not ready. Like, I didn't learn these moves. I'm gonna have to go home tonight and basically learn Ryujin and Yuna's parts, because what if the judges see that I'm doing Yeji's parts, but they're not gonna know it's Yeji's parts? They're just gonna think I'm doing something wrong. What if everybody else learned the right parts? All that mixed with seeing 2 people that I thought would win lose just threw me off completely. I was like, suddenly I don't feel prepared. Suddenly I feel like this is gonna be a disaster. The third reason that I almost didn't compete, the extreme exhaustion. ITZY's Dream Stage was day 3. I actually attended day 1 and day 2. KCON really took it out of me, being really busy because I did have commitments throughout the convention that I had to attend. That mixed with the heat, mixed with the overwhelming amount of people, it was so much. I felt very overwhelmed and like very overstimulated, which is so weird because I'm not usually that kind of person. By the end of day 2, I was so completely exhausted. And like I said, I wanted to learn that correct guide version just in case. So when I went home from KCON day 2, I started practicing the new dance. I also didn't even have an outfit planned for day 3 yet. At last year's Dream Stage, they specifically told us wear all white, which, you know, that's some sort of a guideline, but this year all KCON said was wear neat clothing. And I was like, girl, what does neat? Give me a color, give me a theme, give me something. Learning the dance last minute mixed with trying to put together an outfit and basically playing dress up all night. I really did not sleep that night. That really caught up to me the next day. First of all, there was a hurricane that day. What do you mean there was a hurricane in California? I think I was maybe on 3 hours of sleep that day. Extreme exhaustion. You know when you wake up and because you're so tired, you feel dizzy, your eyesight is a little bit blurry, and your body feels heavy? Like, do y'all know what I'm talking about? Because that's what I felt that morning. And that in turn gave me a lot of anxiety. My headspace was really bad. If I don't win, because other people that I thought would win, they didn't win. What if I do the wrong version on stage? Like, should I do Yeji's parts or should I do Ryujin and Yuna's parts? And just being very sleep deprived, all of these things were piling up in my head and making me feel this, not just anxiety, but this extreme lack of confidence. I was trying to tell myself, I can do this, but that mean voice in my head, she was awake and she was like, go to sleep, you should be resting, you could be doing other things with your time, you're not prepared. If you go out there and you lose, you're gonna be upset with yourself because you knew you weren't ready, so why are you gonna put yourself through that? Like, oh God, I ended up not even driving myself to the convention. I had my dad do it. I almost stayed home. I thought I would rather stay here than face that anxiety and like that overwhelming sense of, oh, it was so bad, you guys. Moving on to check-in and entry. Thankfully for me, check-in was smooth. I also met a few of the like really nice contestants as I was checking in, so that helped me relax a little bit. I ended up being number 100, which is crazy because last year for the Dream Stage, I was number 1. So I thought to myself, okay, that's like a good sign. Number 1 to 100, 2 zeros, second year in the row. Yeah. Everything was fine until we were then taken into the holding area that was right in front of the stage that we'd be competing at. So all of the contestants were like barricaded in and we were all just sitting down. And when I approached that area, again, I was number 100, so there were 99 people in front of me, and I recognized a lot of people that I knew from the dance community. And when I say dance community, I mean like the K-pop dance cover community, which is really big in LA. And actually a lot of that started at my school, UCLA. There's Choreos, there's Sola, which was the team that I was on, and KBM, which I was also on. I recognized a lot of dancers from those teams and also new teams that were around the area now. Whether these were people that I had danced with previously or that I've seen dance in the last few years, I thought to myself, oh my God, this competition is going to be really intense. Like, these are people who know what they're doing. Not only are they good dancers, but they understand how to perform. And I feel like that's a really big part of this competition. So on one hand, I felt comfort in seeing like familiar faces and friends. And on another hand, that bully voice in my head was like, you see who you're up against? You're not going to be able to do it. They're better than you. What are you doing? Oh my God. But while we're on that topic, shout out to the people who killed it. Linda, yeah, she ate. Vera, her facials, yeah. Miss Shu, I met Shu. I'll insert like a clip here of her dancing. I'm sure you've seen her online before. She was at the competition and we met for the first time in person there, and her dancing, yeah, she's a winner. Yeah. There was Katie from Prism Crew. There was Ria, who I've been dancing with for a few years, and she's a dancer. Again, not just really good dancers, but also really great performers. That was really fun to see them like compete and stuff, because I was like, I know y'all are gonna get it. You got this. There were also some people who like recognized me from the crowd, the people that follow me on social media, and they came up to say hi and like wish me good luck, which that was very comforting. And if you're one of the people who did that, thank you so much. Whether you did that at the competition or like at any point during KCON, it means so much to me, and it makes me feel so much more comforted than you can ever realize. I also brought out my KCON photo card. It's a random photo card that you would get at their most recent Latin America and Canada tour. So I actually pulled KCON. He is my bias in P1 Harmony. He's like also one of my old. Anyways, I pulled a signed KCON photo card in Monterrey, which is the day that I had snapshots with P1 Harmony. So it was a special day. And then this top loader was given to me by Milka, which is a new friend that I made in Mexico City. It all means a lot to me. So this is like my little lucky photo card. And I took this with me for good luck because girl, I needed some. One of the reasons I really like him as an idol is that he really inspires me to be more confident in myself. Confidence is something that I've struggled with all my life, and like recently it's gotten to the point where I'm like, girl, get it together. Like, I want to live a more confident and like fulfilled life, and I see a lot of inspiration about that from KCON. So I took this with me and it really did help. Every time I looked at this, it was like I was looking at a friend. Oh, the parasocial relationships. And you know what, you guys, I have an appointment at the DMV, so I'll be right back. Well, I am back, but the lighting has changed, and pretty soon the sun is going to start to move onto me, so hope you don't mind that. Another person that I really want to shout out is, I don't remember if it's pronounced Kara or Kara. I'm so sorry if you're watching this. I was gonna DM you on Instagram to ask, and I forgot to. But this angel right here, this is somebody that I met at the Dream Stage. We got to talking, and I told her, you know what, I'm really nervous, like I feel ill right now, and I was being serious. But something about her presence was so like calming and relaxed and positive, and she basically told me, don't be nervous. She told me she wasn't nervous. She said, it's not gonna help me do any better in the competition if I'm nervous. I might as well go out there and have the best time that I can. She said, you have to go in there with the correct mindset. And I was like, you're so right. And I knew she was right, and I would usually think like that on a normal day, but lack of sleep, comparing myself, all the bad things. Hearing that from her in such a genuine way, that just really helped me relax and remember that I'm here to have fun. And she told me, like, have fun, enjoy yourself. So that's what I did, and she helped me so much, and she wasn't even trying to. Like, she was just speaking from her heart. Shout out to this queen. Thank you so much for having that positive energy, because you had no idea how much that was going to impact the people around you. It definitely impacted me, and honestly, without that kind of energy, I don't know if I would have been able to go on that stage. Once I got on that stage, and once that music started, and once I started dancing, boom, like I was on. It just clicked. A lot of times, even when I'm not nervous as a dancer, if I'm performing in front of anyone, sometimes I'm just on autopilot. And I guess maybe now that I say that out loud, maybe that's not really a good thing, but this was like a very rare moment for me where I was super aware of my body and like where I was and what I was doing in that moment. I was on. And I honestly feel like I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I killed it the first round. I feel like I did so good. Like I did it. I executed the moves exactly how I wanted to. My facials were kind of rehearsed, I'm not gonna lie. And I feel like I hit them well. And there was this one point where in my peripheral, like I literally saw one of the judges point to me, and she like tapped the judge next to her and went like this. So I was like, okay, we're doing good. First round was great. After that preliminary round, that just put all the confidence back in me and made me feel like so much more comfortable. The nerves were almost completely gone, and I was like, okay, we're here to have fun, we're here to have a good time. It was really good. So I go up for the final round. I do think my preliminary round was a lot stronger and better executed than my final round, but the final round was still good, obviously, because we made it. I won! Before the winning announcement, ITZY came on stage, and that was crazy, you guys, because for IVE on day one, I believe only 2 members of IVE came out to announce the winners, and it was the 2 members who did the guide video, if I'm not mistaken. So for day 2, of course, everyone was expecting that Jang Hao and Hanbin were gonna come out. Actually, on day 2, the crowd was the biggest that it's been for any of the dream stages. People came not necessarily to watch the competition, but just in hopes that they'd see Hanbin and Jang Hao when they came out to announce the winners. But they did not come out to announce the winners. Because they didn't come out the day before, and because not all of IVE came out for day 1, no one was really expecting ITZY to come out for day 3. Like, of course we were hopeful, and people were kind of talking about it like, do you guys think ITZY will come? But I don't think anyone was really expecting it. Me personally, I did think they would, but I did think it would only be Yuna and Ryujin. So when all of ITZY came out, girl, I think it was a very, very exciting moment for everybody. And then Chaeryeon called my number. Chaeryeon called my winning number 100. And you guys, the euphoria, the release that I felt when I found out that I won, I can't explain to you how relieved I felt and how proud of myself I was. I was very proud of myself, and I just felt very excited and like happy and thankful to be there with people that I knew. Again, like one of the first people that I saw when I went on stage was my friend Ria, and I was like, we did it, you know, like we went to school together, we've danced on a team together, we've been in this space together for a while, you know, and now we won. And same thing with a few other people on stage. It was great. More than watching ITZY, I was watching the other winners around me and like seeing their faces of celebration. People had their phones out taking videos. The winners that were walking on stage after me, they just looked like in such like shock and disbelief, and I think that is what I remember more than like being on stage with ITZY. But I was aware. I was like, oh my god, ITZY are right there, and we're having like a party behind them. It was so much fun, you guys. I am so thankful that I won, and it's something that I'm gonna take with me forever. Next up was after the competition. As soon as the winners were off stage, the staff like immediately gathered us up, and this year there was, I believe, 4 total staff members who were like directing us throughout the day. Last year, I swear it was like 1 and a translator, and that translator did not want to be there. But this year they immediately gathered everybody off stage, and they let us know you have about an hour and 15 minutes to go get lunch, and then you meet back here and we are going to start rehearsing. Most of the staff members that were working with us, they mostly only spoke Korean, so we had one of them who was like our main translator, and girl, she was on her business. Like, she did not let us slack at all throughout the day. Like I said, because we were taken from the contest directly to rehearsals, we didn't really have time to explore the convention. So I'm really glad that I was able to explore the convention the 2 days before. And that's when I visited the All My Things booth, and they set me up with a bunch of makeup goodies, which I am wearing in today's video. I want to show you the process of what I did to get this look. I always like to do my base makeup first, so I'm going to go in with one of the All My Things blushers. I have the blusher in Aurora and the blusher in Moon. I've usually been a more berry toned blush person, but lately I've been liking a more bright dramatic pop of pink, so I think I'm gonna go with the Aurora blush. This pinky shade over here, I love that lately. It is very dramatic, but it's purposeful. I also like adding some on my nose. The nose blush kind of looks like a little bit too much on me sometimes because I purposefully add a lot and don't really blend it out, and I think sometimes it looks like that, but sometimes it looks like I just don't know how to blend my makeup. Next is what I was the most excited to see at that booth, the All My Things eyeshadows. You guys, I have 6-pan eyeshadow palettes in Dear Rose and Dear Jasmine. They also have little blushes at the bottom. I really like Dear Rose because I feel like it has a lot of really pretty pinky neutral shades that you could use every day. I hope you can see these swatches right here. So pretty. Dear Jasmine, this glittery purple shade right here. Tell me this isn't perfect for my Boraje girlies. 2025, I'm gonna be using this palette. Let me see if I can show you the glitter. Oh, like, look at the, oh my god. Beauty guru moment, look at this. Look at that glitter! It is the prettiest iridescent shade. Then I have these eyeshadow duos, just like the blushers. We have it in Aurora and Moon. Just in the pan, you can see how pretty they are. Swatch the two sparkly shades, very pretty. These are more subtle glitters, and I think these would be really cute as eyeshadow toppers. Now, the liquid eyeshadows, ooh, this is Rich. This is Venus. Ooh, I love these bronzy shades. Toe shoes, pretty. This is Hot Beam. Then we have a silver shade. This is gonna be Stiletto. Here she is. This for the Renaissance tour. And I also have two other glitters in Dear Rose and Dear Jasmine. Beautiful glitter. Oh, I love these shades. Honestly want to see what the Dear Jasmine glitter looks like on my eyes. Oh, it's really pretty. I want to add a little bit of toe shoes. I think that looks pretty. We also have the super curling mascara in black, and this is really interesting. It's a pink brown. I'm not trying this today, but I am interested to see what this color looks like. Here's what the wand looks like. It's a very thin wand. It's very easy to work with. After applying the mascara, my lashes feel very light, which is really nice because I feel like a lot of mascaras that I try leave a pretty heavy and thick coat. And finally, about to finish the look off with some lip tint. We have the lip tints in Dear Rose and Dear Jasmine. I already know Dear Rose is the one for me. I love these like terracotta reddish shades. I always wear them. I added some lip liner and now adding a little bit of the tint. And as you guys have seen, this is the final look. Thank you again so much to Cellect and All My Things for sponsoring this video. And now let's get back into the story time. So rehearsals. Our rehearsal room was inside one of the convention halls. They immediately set us up into formation. It was very efficient. I was really impressed because last year, girl, it was a mess last year. They didn't even have the formations planned out beforehand. They put them together like on the spot at Crypto Arena on stage rehearsing. That's when they finalized the formation. But this year they had it all set out. They had like a little iPad. I saw the diagram that they had and it was very, very organized. Something that was different about this year's Dream Stage is we were actually casted into our spots on stage, meaning once we made it to our rehearsal room, the staff had us all do the dance one more time. And I think it was in groups of maybe 10. So we did the dance in front of them again. And that was basically like our little audition for our spot on the stage where we were going to stand on stage. I will say I can't tell what they were looking for in that because I do not think it was solely based off of how well you do the dance, like by any means. Just because you were on the back side of the stage or facing away from ITZY, like by no means did that mean that they weren't good dancers, because like there were some really good dancers that weren't necessarily towards the front. I want to say it had to do with varying diversity, age, genders, ethnicities, just because that I think makes the stage look more exciting on like the KCON stage. But that's just my opinion, not sure what the actual criteria was. After we set the formations, they also had us set timing and we cleaned up our moves a little bit. Very organized. We made sure to clean up the timing so that everyone started on the same move and didn't like freestyle anything crazy. And before we knew it, it was time to head to Crypto Arena to rehearse, which is definitely the most exciting part because that's where you, well, at least last year, that's where I saw the most idols backstage. stage, but they were super strict about us handling that this year. They didn't let us take our phones into the arena, which was really interesting because that wasn't a thing last year. So in our practice room, everybody just left all of their belongings, including their phones, and then we were escorted to Crypto Arena. Last year, during the rehearsal and also when we were heading in for the actual show, we saw so many idols. I saw like ATEEZ, Lightsum, and Hypen, some other idols. I saw a bunch of groups. But this year, personally, I only saw 2 idols backstage. One of them being Bangchan from Stray Kids. Yeah, so we walk in, we head to our entrance of the floor, and he was just sitting there. He had to have been outside of his dressing room or something like that, and he was just on his phone. He didn't even notice us walking by. We were all in a straight line walking, and I was like, is that? Everyone around me was freaking out. So our line passed him, and then we were held at this spot, which was right in front of the floor entry. While we were there, we could still see Bangchan, like, we're here, and he's like right here. We waited there for a while, and more of the Dream Stage winners started piling in. So he eventually looked up from his phone because he must have thought, what's happening? He looks up, and I did see one of the Dream Stage winners like wave at him, and he waved back, but he looked confused. I think he didn't realize what was happening. He's like, why are all these random people backstage? And the really interesting thing is, we stayed at that little spot for a really long time because ITZY were on stage rehearsing their own songs. So we were just waiting for the green light to go on stage with them. So for a good like 5 to 10 minutes, Bangchan was just sitting there. Like, he didn't care that we were there. He was just kept on his phone, doing his thing. Besides Bangchan, I did see one other idol, which I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know who he was, but I know he was an idol because 1, he just looked too pretty to be a normal person, but 2, he was wearing a light blue jersey, and I actually ended up seeing a clip of him later on Twitter. So he was definitely an idol, but I don't know who he is. If anyone knows who was wearing a blue jersey at KCON, leave it in the comments below. So we stood at that spot for a while. Again, it was a floor entry, and so we were able to see ITZY rehearse their stages, which was a lot of fun because, you know, we weren't going to be able to watch that during the regular show. Finally, we go on stage. As we're being told which stairs to go up on and where we're going to stand on stage, ITZY were not there, and I think that's just for the sake of, you know, not wasting their time. I'm sure they went back to their dressing room and did their thing while we were figuring out our situation. But we were supposed to practice walking on and off the stage, like with the music, hearing the cue, walking on and getting to our spots about 4 times. I think that's how many times we did it last year. But we only had time to get on stage twice, just marking our spots. No music, no dancing. Before we were told we have to get off stage. Very suddenly and kind of urgently, we were told everybody off the stage, off the stage. And this was in the middle of us like about to rehearse. And this was being told to us by like stagehands. It wasn't our Dream Stage staff. So I think our Dream Stage staff at first didn't know what was going on. We get off stage, and then I hear this guy, he goes under the stage and he says, anyone down here, get out immediately. So it was like a very urgent and kind of scary, sudden thing because no one really knew why we were being told to get off stage. And so, slight trigger warning if you live in the United States and, you know, when things go bad with big crowds, you know what I mean? You know what I mean. 2 thoughts I had. One was, oh my gosh, is it the hurricane? Like, I thought maybe like something is happening outside. But my other thought was, is this a gun threat? Which is really unfortunate that my brain went there, but living in America, that unfortunately is what it is. So I was really scared for like a split second because I thought, can someone please just say what's going on? Why were we told to suddenly get off stage? Thankfully, it was not the hurricane. It was not a gun threat, thankfully. It was actually a freaking earthquake. No, we had an earthquake the same day we had a hurricane. The earthquake really said, girl, I'm the natural disaster of California, back up. Yeah, there was an earthquake earlier that day, which most of the Dream Stage winners were not aware of. Like, maybe we were dancing when the earthquake happened and we didn't feel it, but apparently there was an earthquake and it caused some sort of structure that was overhead to become loose or detached or something. That was a safety hazard. It could have potentially fallen onto the stage, so they had to fix that before anyone could be near the stage. Because of that, guys, we didn't get a chance to rehearse on stage with the music or ITZY at all. The way these rehearsals on stage work, they're called tech. Tech times are usually very structured because, you know, it's not just ITZY that needed to rehearse. All of the groups that night still needed to get their stage time. They're on a tight schedule, and so we couldn't wait for the stage to be fixed. Basically, what staff ended up doing is they set up this tape on the ground and created like a mock setup of the stage. So they literally just put tape on the ground on the GA floor and they said, we're gonna rehearse here. And in my mind, I was like, oh. At that point, we had been on stage twice, but that was only to set our formation. We just walked on without music and we just stood in our correct positions because there were like little dots on the floor. We did that 2 times, no music. So in my head, I was thinking it would be nice to rehearse with music so that we can get used to how much time we have to actually walk up those stairs and walk, because of course that stage is a lot bigger than the rehearsal room, right? And it would be nice to get the feel of the arena before actually going on stage in front of thousands of people, but that did not happen, babe. So they set up that little tape formation on the ground. We get ready to go on stage, the ground, and then ITZY came out. So ITZY came out and greeted us, and honestly, you guys, ITZY were so sweet. They were so kind to us, and like it was very genuine. It didn't feel like they were just there to do their job. It felt like they were really trying to greet us properly and make us feel like excited and welcomed. They took the time, at least from what I saw, to really interact with all of us, like look at us and properly greet us. So really good vibes from ITZY. I'm really happy that I got to see them in like that sense. Keep in mind, you guys, we are at this point on the general admission floor and it is a tiny space. So ITZY were like this. They were right in like Yeji was right here. If we had rehearsed on the actual stage, that's a lot more space. We would have been further spread apart from them. But in this situation, we were right in front of their faces because we were practicing on the floor. And it just so happens that with my spot in the formation, I was like really close to them and I got to face them directly. So they get into their formation, music played, and I think it cut out like 2 times. So something was happening with the music. And this was iconic. So when the music cut out the second time, Chaeryeong, she literally looked annoyed and girl just started singing. She just started singing a cappella. She's like, I'll do it myself. And then the rest of ITZY catch on, but so did the Dream Stage winners. So we all started singing along with them, and that was so funny, you guys, because when we started singing, all of ITZY like laughed because girl, we don't speak Korean, you know what I mean? We were singing along, but ITZY were just hearing random syllables. But that was a very surreal and like once in a lifetime moment because we are hearing them just sing and dance a cappella live. Oh my god, it was crazy. I think me and Rhea, we were like, is this actually happening right now? Like, oh my gosh, the voices that stood out the most to me were Yeji's and Chaeryeong's. I mean, they just sounded exactly like they do on their CDs, and they were so loud and like stable. It was crazy. Then we go on stage, right? On stage, we get into the tape formation behind ITZY. And there's some part in the choreography where some of the members turn around. So Yuna turned around and faced one of the people, and they like made direct eye contact, and Yuna gave like the cutest little like shyest giggle. She was like like it was, I'm not exaggerating, she literally sounded like so shy making eye contact with that person, and then of course they also like blushed. It was so cute and sweet to see. One of my favorite parts of that rehearsal was when they did the dance break, because again, I was like right there, so I was just watching them do the dance break, and to see such an iconic piece of choreography that close to you, on your level, not on a stage but level to you, crazy. After that rehearsal, they only did it once. I feel like if we had gone on stage, we probably would have done it twice with the music, but they gave us their live little show once. And Yuna turned around afterwards and she said something to all of us in Korean. Again, just like this look of very genuine wanting to talk to us as regular people is the vibe that I got from Yuna. But she said something in Korean and none of us really understood. Well, maybe some people there speak Korean, but most of us didn't understand what she said, and I think she registered that. So then she said it in English. She said, make sure you guys eat before you go on stage, and she made like this little hand gesture, and she said, make sure you drink water. And she was just really looking out for us, wanting us to feel good for the time that we go on stage. And I just thought that was so sweet. And so they all said goodbye to us, and some of them even said good luck and have fun, and then that was that. Rehearsal was kind of quick, but it was definitely, I would say that rehearsing with them so impromptu on the ground, being that close to them, to hear them sing live on the spot, everything being so unplanned, that is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, when is that ever gonna happen again? After that, we went back to the convention center, and our staff were actually really apologetic to us. I personally really appreciated that they were that concerned for us and they realized how valuable that tech time on stage is. After that moment, honestly, our staff relaxed a lot. I just feel like, I don't know, we got closer with them. From that point on, they just seemed like they were really rooting for us and they wanted the best experience for everybody possible, and they just seemed more relaxed in their roles. That's what a lot of my friends who did both the IVE and the ITZY Dream Stage, they're like, oh yeah, they're way happier today. Side note, I actually heard that one of the Dream Stage winners tried talking a lot with the ZB1 members or something like that before we started rehearsals. Staff told us, make sure you limit your interactions with the idols. Do not touch them. Do not try to talk to them. Don't go overboard with greeting them, because apparently someone did kind of go overboard the day before with ZB1. So much so to the point that they were almost not allowed to do the Dream Stage. We headed back to the rehearsal room in the convention and we rehearsed for a bit before having another 1 hour dinner break. Honestly, after that, everything really relaxed. I think the first half of the day we were all a little bit like, everybody get it together and stay on top of it and let's rehearse. After that, it was a little bit more like we know what we're doing, and we were also pretty comfortable with each other. I think by that point people had made friends and it was a good time. After our dinner break and a little bit more of rehearsal, we were finally taken back to Crypto Arena for the actual concert. That was another difference between this year and last year. Last year, we were taken to Crypto before the concert started, because when we were taken to Crypto last year, as we were going through security, we saw a lot of other idols going through security as well, like backstage security. We literally saw ATEEZ's truck arrive and they got off in front of us, greeted us, and then they walked through the security. This year, the show had already started when we were taken back to Crypto, so we didn't see idols backstage. At least I didn't. I don't know if anybody else did, but we were taken immediately to like our little green room, waiting room area. When it was time to go on stage, we were taken again to that little opening floor area, and so we were able to see all of G-Idol's set, which was really fun. There was also this moment, I think it was when Queen Card started playing. One of the Dream Stage staff, she was so excited and she started dancing and singing along. I feel like that kind of broke the wall of like, you know, professionalism that we had to all have throughout the day, and everyone was just having a good time singing along. And then we finally went on stage. And you guys, I mean, I don't really have many words to describe, or I guess I do have many words, and so we'd be here all day. Words to describe the amazing feeling of being on stage. And not just that, but as we were walking up to the stairs, getting ready to go on stage, people who were on the GA floor, and even some of the people on the bleachers from the entrance, they saw us and they were like, good luck, you guys, have fun. And that's just so sweet, you know, because they know, oh, you guys are the Dream Stage winners, have fun. Going up on stage, thankfully I didn't miss my cue, because, oh, did I mention that? I was like the line leader going up the stairs, so if I had missed that cue, that would have been embarrassing, but I didn't. I did miss it during rehearsal though, because I was like staring at ITZY and I got distracted. Anyways, I go on stage and I had like a really close spot to the girls. I was, again, pretty present during that moment. I think I was really able to take it in, and I was telling myself, use this energy to manifest more experiences like this in the future, and I wanted to be able to remember that feeling and carry it with me for good luck and good energy in the future. And that's what I've been doing. Like I could still see myself on that stage, hear the crowd cheering, and oh my god, the best part was when ITZY did the dance break. Again, I just got lucky with my spot. I was facing this way and ITZY were facing this way, so from the corner of my eye I could see them. And honestly, when the dance break started, I used the corner of my eye to look over at them, but then I was like, fuck it, and I just turned my head over and I was watching them do the dance break, because why not? It was so worth it. I was just like, oh my god, I'm on stage with them and they're doing the iconic dance break right in front of me. A moment that I'm never gonna forget. And then finally, probably the most exciting part for me, this is a little recap of my moment with Yuna. I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but just to reiterate how strict they were on how we should treat the idols this year. It's not like last year they weren't strict with us, and I also think that's like a pretty general understanding, is that if you're working backstage with artists, you need to be respectful, you don't want to cross boundaries, you don't want to get up in their faces. Like, this isn't a fan meet, this is a professional performance. But this year, I think the staff were really straightforward about how we should treat the idols. We were told, do not talk to them, do not try to touch them, you can say hi, but that's basically it. Don't go overboard with your interactions with them. I was like, okay, not gonna go out of my way to like act crazy with them. I'm here to be professional and just be chill. But once we finished the performance, it was time for a group photo, and we were told that was something that we knew was gonna happen. There would be 2 photos after the performance. We approached ITZY, and again, I was pretty lucky because my spot just allowed me to be very close to them. Yuna turns around and looked at this girl named Madge, who I ended up spending a lot of time with that day. She turns around, looks at Madge, and she just hugs her, like, for no reason. I think Madge was just smiling at her, and it made Yuna feel happy, and so she went in for a hug. And if I can find a clip, I'll insert it, of where I was watching and I was like, I was like, you just got hugged by Yuna, like, you won. You just got hugged by Yuna in front of thousands of people on camera, like, you won. We kneeled down for the pose, and there was like a moment in my head where I was like, yes, like, I'm next to Yuna, like, I'm gonna be in the picture with a pretty good spot. And then Yuna turns around and she does the heart pose with me, and I was like, me? Are you sure? Are this allowed? We were told don't touch the idols, and obviously Yuna initiating this, I think it's not gonna get me in trouble, you know, like I didn't tell Yuna, can we do a heart? I didn't touch her or anything, but she put her hand out and I was like, so I was a little bit scared, but also very happy. And like as a fan, that's so meaningful, you know? We did the little heart and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. And then for picture number 2, I didn't even hear that one of the other members said, let's do the ITZY sign. So yes, they said, let's do ITZY. I didn't process that, and all of a sudden I just see Yuna go like this. So she does the little for the ITZY sign, and I was like, oh, like me? And then she nods, so we do it again, and in my head I'm thinking, she posed with me again, she chose me again. And then Yuna leaned her head. Like I can remember the moment, you guys, where she leans and like fully has her head rested on mine, and I was like, is this actually happening right now? Like, is she really? And in the back of my head, I was thinking, should I lean as well? Because, you know, not only was I thinking we were told not to touch them, but I was also thinking, I just don't want to make her feel uncomfortable, which in retrospect, if she's putting her head on me, I don't think it would have made her feel uncomfortable if I leaned in too. But, you know, I just felt like I needed to have that guard. There was this moment where I kind of just closed my eyes, and it was part fear, part trying to take the moment in. I did slightly lean my head into hers. I don't think it was very visible, but I think she would have at least felt a little bit more of that pressure on her head, just because I didn't want her to think that I was ignoring her, if that made sense. And then after that, Yuna hugged me. Yeah, she hugged me, you guys. I cannot believe that she hugged me. Like, I was in shock. Even I showed the clip to my mom afterwards and she's like, you looked so like scared. And I was like, yeah, because I was, girl. I just can't believe that she hugged me. And then I think after that she grabbed another person's hand. Yeji also hugged someone, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's just, you know, they don't need to do those things, but the fact that they went out of their way to do that and to make their fans that went through this competition for them to make us feel special like that and recognize us like that, it was a really, really nice gesture, and I'm never gonna forget it. I can't explain. To this day, I'm still shocked that that happened. Like, what were the odds? What were the odds? I was a Dream Stage winner last year, and last year I did get to do a little heart pose with Xiaoting, but I initiated that, you know? I strategically ran next to her for the group photo, and then I asked her if we could do a heart pose, and she said yes, which I was very thankful for. But to have an idol just do it on their own, and to do all of that, the hugs, girl, the hug, it was really special, and it's something that I'm never ever gonna forget. Oh, I got chills. After the performance, we were immediately escorted out of the venue. Last year, we were able to stay in our green room for a little longer. That's because Kepler actually came backstage to greet us. ITZY didn't do that this year, but again, I didn't feel like they need to. We had so many intimate moments with them already. So we were immediately escorted out of the arena. If any of the winners had a concert ticket and they wanted to go see the show themselves, then they were able to do that, but I was so tired, girl. I left. I went home. I mean, I didn't have a concert ticket anyways, but even if I had, I would have gone home. I just want to talk about some differences from this year's stage to last year's and just my overall experience. A key difference about last year is that they didn't disclose that we would not be able to watch the concert if we were winners of the Dream Stage, which was a huge bummer because a lot of us had concert tickets. And I guess in retrospect, now I totally understand why that's the case. It would be such a mess. Can you imagine them having us rehearse and then them just letting us go free and leaving it up to us to get backstage by a certain amount of time? I mean, that means exiting the concert venue, going to the backstage venue, and we would have needed credentials anyways, which we couldn't just have those carrying them around. It would have been so hectic if they did let us watch the concert, but they didn't let us know that in advance last year, and so a lot of people, including myself, had a concert ticket and it just completely went to waste. Girl, I had P1 last year. That was like $250 down the drain. So I'm really happy that this year they were super transparent about disclosing it from the beginning. From the application process, they did let us know if you win the Dream Stage, you're likely to not be able to enjoy the convention that day or the concert. And they also repeated it to us after we won the actual competition, right before we went to our lunch break. So that was a really, really good change on KCON's end. Another major difference between this year and last year is that this year was by far way more organized. I mean, they had that down this year. There were more staff members that were running things. The judges were like these professional dancers. The schedule of the day was very, very well executed. We had enough break time, enough rehearsal times, and we knew when everything was happening. Whereas last year, we were kind of just figuring things out on the spot, and it seemed like our break times were a lot more random. I also mentioned that last year, how we stood on the stage was completely random. It was just like, we were all standing in front of the staff member, and it's just like if you happen to be closer to her, she just pulled you in. This year, we kind of had to audition for that spot, or at least do it one more time for the staff to organize us. And my overall feeling about this experience is it was 150% worth it. It is by far one of the best experiences of my life, and I might say this year's Dream Stage was more memorable. Actually, okay, maybe I take that back. The thing is, they were just memorable in very different ways, you know, especially because last year was the very, very first time a Dream Stage had ever even happened. And so to win that and to also win with Kepler, which I had just finished obsessing over Girls Planet, so it meant a lot to me. But this year was also very special in its own way, and it's something that I'm never gonna forget and that I'm so thankful that I got to experience. Honestly, it also helped me with my confidence a lot. I was going through freaking turmoil right before the contest, but the fact that I was able to prove myself and that I won with the dance that I felt really suits me and that I'm able to execute very well was very validating for me. And I've honestly walked out of that experience with a lot more confidence as a dancer and as a performer. It also helped me appreciate this community even more. I've been doing K-pop dance covers since 2016, 2017. I can tell you it has not always been as popular and definitely not as wide accepted as it is now. When I started doing dance covers, I was on a school team and we would definitely get judged by people, and I always felt like weird for doing it to some degree. Never with the people that I did it with. That felt like home, but I always felt judged on the outside. And to see like how big that dance cover community has grown and how much K-pop has grown in general over the last few years, I just felt like a lot of appreciation for the people that I did the Dream Stage with. We're all here for the same reason. We all don't just love K-pop for the music, we love it for the dance and the performance aspect, you know? That's literally why I got into K-pop. Like, it was literally BTS's dope choreography. Seeing them dance is what made me think, what is that? I want to get into it. It's always been the dance for me. Finally, I'm a Yuna defender. Love Yuna. We stan Yuna. So there you have it. Thank you guys so much. I think this is gonna be a long video. I really hope you enjoyed this story time. It was just like a chill little chit chat. I wanted to tell that story, and hopefully you had fun listening to this as like a podcast. That's how I usually like to consume my YouTube content. If you have any questions about what the Dream Stage was like, leave them in the comments below. I have a bunch of vlogs coming up, including P1 Harmony in Mexico and also the KCON vlog. And also, I just saw Beyonce. So that vlog is coming. Girl, eventually. I'm behind. Thank you again to Cellect Beauty and All My Things Cosmetics for sponsoring this video. Thank you to you guys for watching this video, and I really hope to see you in the next one. If you weren't subscribed already, please feel free to subscribe. I am having a lot of fun taking YouTube a lot more serious lately, and I want to use this platform to show you guys more of my personal side. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.